Donald Trump's election risks upsetting EU ties with the US fundamentally and structurally, EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker has warned. We will need to teach the president-elect what Europe is and how it works, Mr. Juncker told students in Luxembourg. The Commission chief predicted that 2 years would be wasted while Mr. Trump tours a world he doesn't know. His remarks contrasted with other EU leaders' more muted reaction to the Tuesday's shock election result. American cities have seen angry protests since Mr. Trump's election victory over the Democratic candidate, Hillary Clinton. In New York, Mr. Trump set about forming the team that will see him through to his inauguration on January 20, when he replaces Barack Obama in the White House. EU unease. Mr. Juncker had offered his formal congratulations to Mr. Trump on Wednesday in a joint statement with Donald Tusk, head of the European Council. Speaking on Friday, he said, "In general the Americans take no interest in Europe." During the campaign, Mr. Trump said Belgium was a village somewhere on our continent. He raises questions which could have harmful consequences because he calls into question the transatlantic alliance, and thus the model on which Europe's defense rests. His promise to cancel the Paris Climate Agreement within 100 days of taking office and protectionist stance on trade have also caused concern, as have his controversial comments about ethnic and religious minorities. While EU leaders congratulated the Republican on his shock victory over Hillary Clinton, German Chancellor Angela Merkel stressed in her message to him that the US and Germany shared the values of democracy, freedom, respect for the rule of law and human dignity, regardless of origin, skin color, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or political belief. Germany, France, and the Netherlands all face elections in the new year, with populist and far-right parties poised to capitalize on discontent with the EU's continuing migrant problem and its slow recovery from the Eurozone debt crisis. Before Mr. Trump's victory, the EU had already been rocked by the UK's vote to leave the body at a referendum in June. However, on Thursday, UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson urged his EU colleagues to take a more positive attitude. "I would respectfully say to my beloved European friends and colleagues that it's time that we snapped out of the general doom and gloom about the result of this election," he said on a visit to Serbia. Meanwhile, in New York, outgoing UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon said he was confident Mr. Trump would not rip up the Paris Agreement on climate change, despite his campaign pledge. "He has made a lot of worrying statements, but I am sure that he will understand the whole importance and seriousness and urgency," he told AFP news agency.